When you tip at a restaurant, who gets the money? Not just the server. It also goes to other workers, even the restaurant owners. But Restaurants Canada says owners should never get a cut of tips.
Tips belong to employees. Without question, tips belong to employees.
Would you like the short stack or the tall stack?
Tips are regulated in 6 Canadian jurisdictions, but not in Saskatchewan. There are no rules that prevent owners from scooping up the tips, but former and current servers say that needs to change.
We had a boss who would take all of the tips from all of the servers and hold on to them for sometimes a couple months at a time, and then they would redistribute them. But I could see how many tips I was bringing in per day, and they were not being, like, I was getting back a fraction of what I was earning, a very small fraction of what I would earn in like a week.
How small a fraction? Laura Chivica says they would bring in around $100 in tips per night, but only get tipped out around $500 every 2 months. They say servers often feel powerless to fight the system.
I think when you're living below the poverty line, when your paychecks are barely covering your rent and your food, it's really hard. You can't just take 2 weeks off and get behind on rent. It doesn't work. You can't get behind on your bills because you'll never catch up.
Another server says, sometimes I have new staff in the kitchen who mess up and I still have to give them a tip even if I don't get one. It makes no sense to me considering their wage is already higher than a server who always makes minimum wage. If you do not tip on a bill, you should know that the server is paying your percentage of tip that goes to the rest of the staff. All managers will deny the fact, but if you look at it logically, that is the reality. Restaurants Canada says it supports provincial regulation and legislation around tipping in Saskatchewan.
That really does promote interprovincial harmonization and provide some clarity to both employers and employees. That'll be key.
People have until the end of October to give their feedback to the Employment Standards Review by letter or by email. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.